Welcome back to another great episode of the Geek Centurions. I'm here with my good old pal, with my brother Joey.
Yeah, how's it going, everybody?
And we're back to review the most recent two episodes of Mandalorian, which is episode 13 and 14?
Yes, okay. 13 and 14, yes.
I have to make sure. Sometimes my math is off. But yeah, no, this is probably the two best episodes we ever had.
I was gonna say that right before you said it. These are definitely, the two, big episodes of the season, I think. One, because last week's episode has Ahsoka Tano. She shows up, played by Rosario Dawson. Which, I mean, I'll get a bit more into this as we get along, but I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I'll say this right now. The way that episode was directed was probably the best one. I think it was directed by Dave Filoni, right?
I think so. Mm-hmm. And this week's episode was directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, and I got some things to say in which, you can clearly tell it's Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, I won't lie. As I was watching some of the action, I'm like, this seems familiar. But
the quality seems very familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go over a quick rundown of last week's episode, which is Ahsoka Tano's episode. I think it's the episode was called The Jedi.
I want to say yes.
Yeah, just a quick little search there for yourself.
Yeah, but yeah, basically this episode, is following up on Mando going to the planet of
name planet, I don't know.
Yeah, but basically he goes there to meet Ahsoka Tano, who he knows is at least someone who probably is a Jedi, to deliver Baby Yoda to. And by the way, we do get an actual official name for Baby Yoda now. So
his name is Grogu.
Yeah, Grogu.
To the disappointment of so many. I mean, I don't really care. It's at least I got a name.
Yeah. So this officially ends Baby Yoda as a name for
young Grogu.
Yeah, it's Grogu now.
Yeah. How many people are going to still call him Baby Yoda?
A lot of people are probably still going to call him.
A huge number.
Yeah, I mean, the marketing for Mandalorian has toys for Baby Yoda as the child, but listen, I think everyone will probably disagree on calling him Baby Yoda, but in canon, his name is Grogu.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a very interesting this episode, right?
Yeah, it's very interesting because, for one, and this is what I mean by the way it's shot, it's sort of reminiscent of old school Japanese samurai films, because it's basically, if you don't know the history of Star Wars is heavily inspired by the movie The Hidden Fortress. In fact, that this episode is I wouldn't say shot to shot, but it borrows heavily from that movie.
Yeah.
From the way the sets are designed, the atmosphere, the forest, the fog, and the fact that Jedis are basically samurais.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of... Yeah, I feel like there was a whole story about where the name Jedi came from.
Jedi Deki.
Yeah.
That's a little news, trivia for you if you ever want to go to one of those trivia bar crawls, whatever.
Yeah, so, basically the story here is that Ahsoka Tano is trying to get the magistrate of this little small town, because she has information that Ahsoka Tano wants. And Mando obviously comes by because he wants to find Ahsoka Tano.
So that's the Jedi that was offered to him.
Yeah, so, and the magistrate sort of offers Mando a spear made of pure Beskar as a reward to kill the Jedi, who's Ahsoka Tano, which obviously Mando doesn't do. He uses it instead to just get to her and deliver the child, so that way, he can sort of finish his mission of returning Grogu to his people.
Which I gotta say, Rosario Dawson has Ahsoka Tano. Well, as an older Ahsoka Tano, is really good. It's one of those things that I really enjoyed seeing of her. Even though personally I feel like Ahsoka Tano, while I do love her character, I feel like it's too... I don't know. I like the idea that Luke was the last Jedi around the time. But knowing that there was Ahsoka Tano, maybe even others, kind of kills that sort of thought for me, but I'm fine. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm glad to see her at the same time.
Yeah, I get that sentiment because Luke was supposed to be the last Jedi, like and he at the end of episode 6, it was the return of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. He himself returned as a Jedi. So yeah, I can definitely understand that sentiment, mm-hmm. but at the same time, I guess in lore, technically Ahsoka doesn't consider herself a Jedi, right? Because she's sort of more mm-hmm. like a gray Jedi kind of thing. Mm-hmm. He has gray lightsabers and stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of nods to other stuff too, because obviously Mando wants her to like take Grogu mm-hmm. and train him, so that way he can use the Force properly. And she starts to sort of do some tests on him, and she sort of realizes that he's has a lot of anger in him mm-hmm. and fear. And she's like, I knew somebody like that once, and it did not end well.
Clearly nod to Anakin.
Yeah.
And the stuff that he eventually does.
Yeah, so she's very...
Which is another thing. We find out that he was part of the Order... That he was at Coruscant during Order 66.
Yeah, like he was around at the time of the prequels, which makes sense because...
He's like 100 years old.
Yeah, he's like... Yeah, I think closer to 80, but yeah, he's super old, so... Mm. It makes sense that, like, in theory, that, yeah, Baby Yoda would have been around that time, but obviously, he's a baby. Mm. So
for that species.
For that species, so he probably wouldn't really remember much of that stuff. Mm. So, yeah, so he got some training, maybe from Yoda himself. Who knows?
All we know is that Anakin missed the kid.
Yeah, definitely missed the kid. To be fair... you see Baby Yoda inside that little pod, so maybe he was in the pod the entire time and he was just sent out somewhere.
Yep. They're like, oh shit, Anakin's coming.
Yeah. Anakin and a bunch of clone troopers are coming and to kill all the Jedi in the Jedi Temple.
Mr. Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
Commit atrocities of war.
So many atrocities.
I mean, he's Darth Vader at that point, so you gotta make him evil, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah, but basically, she's sort of hesitant to train Grogu. She's sort of like, I don't want to do that, and she sort of tells Mando to basically, in order, basically as sort of a, well, I mean, first of all, like, Mando makes a deal, right, to like help her get to the magistrate, because he's sort of like, I mean, I'm not gonna like kill you for the Beskar because I want you to take Grogu. Mm. Take her and...
So you're already having issues with you want to call him Baby Yoda.
Yeah, because it was a force of habit. It's been a year of just saying Baby Yoda. It's gonna take some time to just call him Grogu. Mm-hmm. I'll do my best though, the very best. But yeah, no, Grogu. Yeah, so Mando wants Grogu to train under
someone.
Yeah, someone.
It's his mission.
Yeah, because he knows that, like, he says himself, he knows he can't provide the training necessary for Grogu to control the Force properly, so he wants someone to do that. So he sort of cuts a deal with Ahsoka Tano to be like, hey, listen, I'll help you take out the Magistrate. And you have to, like, train.
Yeah, you have to do something about him.
Yeah, which he agrees to, and they go in,
And it very much becomes both the Western and Samurai film at the same time.
Yeah, you got, Mando doing his gunslinger stuff, Ahsoka Tano doing some awesome Jedi stuff.
Which can I say, I think I forgot to mention is, even the Magistrate's home is very Japanese.
Yeah, like, the outside is, very desolate, very sort of gray and stuff, but you get into her little palace and stuff, and it's very, super, like...
She has a koi pond.
Yeah. It's very, like, Japanese themed, which is, definitely leans into that Hidden Fortress inspiration and stuff. I mean, heck, she has a fight with Ahsoka Tano, and it's very sort of interesting with her using the Beskar spear, which I actually did not. I guess I kind of forgot that Beskar is immune to like the Jedi to lightsabers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like how everyone getting into the question. So which is stronger, Beskar, Vibranium, Adamantium?
Who, cares? I mean, realistically, like, I mean, how would you compare that stuff to like, I don't know, like, what's the closest thing to like a lightsaber in the Marvel universe?
There's a lot of magic there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess that too, like in theory, is would being affected by magic be a thing, right?
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, no. Anyways, they have a whole fight, and something that like was actually super interesting to me was when Ahsoka Tano beats the magistrate, because she's like wants information on her master, and it turns out the magistrate's master is Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah, that's another deep cut.
Yeah, that is also a deep cut. Which, to briefly explain, he was a Legends character, as in like.
Well, he also showed up in Rebels.
Well, I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
Like he showed up in like the expanded lore, like before Disney bought Star Wars, and decided to get rid of all the expanded universe stuff as canon stuff. But Admiral Grand Thrawn, he was brought into the Rebels fold, sort of like bringing him back into the canon in a sense, which I think a lot of people.
He was so badass that we can't ignore him.
Yeah, like because he's like one of the few Empire generals who's not like a human based kind of dude.
Yeah, and also like he was one of the ones that like the moment the Emperor fell, he was like, okay, like we just gotta do this, this, and this, and we'll take over. We'll be fucked. Like he knew what to do if anything went bad.
Yeah. He's like super tactical, right?
Yeah, he used short power.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like interesting. I wonder if this will set up. Because I mean, at that point, I was wondering when I was watching the episode, like, so is this gonna be like a way for them to set up a Ahsoka Tano like solo like miniseries on Disney Plus?
Some people have speculated that.
I mean, because one, I mean, you have Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano, and I don't see them not having her play that character in live action, like not to have her do stuff as her in future live action stuff.
The another thing before we forget to mention is that at the end of Rebels, it's like Thrawn sort of went into this weird, I don't know.
Yeah, there's
space whale bullshit.
Yeah, there's like weird space whale stuff. Like
Ezra was in it, and
yeah,
most people speculate he's trying to find Ezra, and I'm like, all right. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Rebels, but sure.
Like if there's probably a way to like make it slightly more interesting for you, would you like?
I mean, we have to watch it.
Yeah,
I didn't hate Ezra. I'm just like, yeah, okay. I'd much rather have Jalen Merrick.
The Apprentice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the best.
Maybe one of these days Disney will somehow try to fit The Apprentice into canon somehow. That'd be pretty sweet.
We'll make him down the line. Make a movie out of it. Anyways.
Yeah.
For me, this episode is probably one of the best things I've seen in a while from Star Wars. It's like one of those things where I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I like Star Wars. It's draws heavily from Japanese, Japanese samurai films, and also be a little bit of Western. And it's, like I said, it's one of the best episodes because like one, the action is great. Two, you're engaged from the get go. The cinematography is great, especially when Ahsoka's in the midst, attacking the enemies. I was like, oh, that's
like just. Like coming in,
which is why I'm talking about getting married, because like I remind me of that I think it was one of the trailers for Force Unleashed 2.
Yeah.
Where he gets out and like he's in the shadows and he just turns on his lights are on and off. And everyone's just shooting and then like he turns it up, like he comes in like a goddamn horror like a slasher film.
Yeah.
It's like that was great.
Yeah,
seeing Ahsoka do that was just like. Cherry on top.
I do remember the last time we talked about Mandalorian episodes, and you're a bit worried about like if we were gonna see Ahsoka Tano, were we gonna see some over the top Jedi stuff? So
yeah, no, and thankfully we didn't see anything over the top. Because usually when I say over the top, I mean kind of like the stuff you would see in the prequels. You know, the high jumps, the the crazy acrobatics.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of kept it really down and down to earth. Made it, like I said, made it feel more like a samurai film, stuff that you would see in sort of the original trilogy, rather than something crazy out there like the prequels.
Yeah, no, I definitely think the action for Ahsoka Tano was really good. And of course I mentioned the fight between her and the magistrate at the end, which also was pretty good. I think it's sort of the big highlight of the episode, as well as it's sort of like there's an interesting moment with Mando and Grogu, where he's like trying to get him to like show off that he can use the Force in front of Ahsoka Tano, and he doesn't do it until he gives him like the little ball that he's messing with on the ship. He's like, take the ball, and then he uses the Force to grab it.
Yeah, and it was very much a dad moment there.
Yeah, it's kind of like a dad moment. It's like, you can do it.
You can do it, son. Oh, I'm proud of you, son.
He's like, yeah, see, I told you can do it.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing is like we're never gonna get to the part where will Mando be okay with just leaving the child as he becomes too attached?
Yeah, that's certainly I think a story beat that might be foreseen in I don't know, potentially at the end of this season, because more than likely we have 2 more episodes, right?
I think it's 2 more episodes.
But it definitely shows that there is a dynamic, especially because Ahsoka Tano tells Mando that he seems like Grogu seems to be able to use the Force more comfortably in front of Mando, right? So and the whole episode ends with them liberating the town, and Mando being told by Ahsoka Tano to go to a specific place,
a specific planet.
Yeah, where there's a mountain that he needs to climb and place Grogu on the top of. That helps him connect to the Force, and from there Grogu will basically decide whether he wants to be trained by a Jedi or if he decides, not to go down that path, basically.
Yeah, and that pretty much sums up that whole episode 13. Joey, you're gonna go quick rating?
Quick rating, I would say this is like a 9.5 out of 10.
I'm on around a 9. Yeah.
This is like really freaking good.
This is what I want.
Yeah.
So, not to say the past few episodes were bad, but they were pretty.
They're pretty, like standard, all right. It's like, okay, we're getting back into the swing of these things. But here stuff has there's a lot of just good action, great sort of storytelling, great cinematography, just everything just really blends in together here for this episode. So yeah, it's just really, really knocks it out of the park. It's sort of, we get progression of the plot. We also get a nod to the Hidden Fortress in this episode. So it's all come together.
Yeah. It's all making sense now. And now we go into the next episode, which we will keep it low in spoilers, because by the time this episode's out, it's been 2-3 days. So we want to keep at least light spoilers in there.
Yeah.
So in this episode, we start off with Mando coming to the place, and we find out that he's been followed. We already know he's being followed by the Empire, but turns out he's also followed by someone else. Someone that we were considering how they're going to introduce this character. Also, it turns out another character is actually alive.
Yeah, another character from the last season, from your least favorite episode. If you remember, if anyone remembers what you said was your least favorite episode of last season,
it was
that character has returned.
I'm not saying who, but you'll know when you know.
Yeah, and basically it sort of becomes a big, and not only do they sort of show up and want something from Mando, the Empire, or the Empire remnants, I should say, have finally tracked Mando down and launch a huge sort of operation to take him out and take Grogu. So it sort of just becomes and the first half is sort of just Mando just trying to get Grogu to sort of activate the things, that way he can start meditating and do stuff. with the second half being just a giant guns fight.
Oh yeah, and remember this is directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah. There's a lot of influences, at least, especially in terms of cinematography and some of the shots in the action, where you can kind of like see that Robert Rodriguez sort of flavoring to it.
I was for me, it was gonna be like the fact that it looks very low budget.
Yeah. I would definitely say that because there are certain shots where the character in question that comes to Mando to take something from him. There's like certain shots where he's like hitting people with like a sort of like a mace looking thing, and it looks very sort of I get a bit low budget, but in terms of like sort of like the aesthetic, not in terms of like actually using like a fucking $50 camera or whatever.
No, it's not that.
not that.
It looks good.
Yeah, like if you were, I guess, if you were to like watch something like Machete, like with Danny Trejo, like in the action scenes in that, you can kind of see a similar sort of vibe, like to some of the
Spy
action.
Kids.
Well, yeah, I mean,
no, Spy Kids is more CG blown.
Yeah, a bit more CG, and obviously, very kid friendly, but yeah.
It's because the moment I was like watching the action, I was like, man, this was like I'm watching one of those like fan made Star Wars things.
Yeah. I was
like whatever fan made action stuff.
Yeah.
And then like when I saw Robert Rodriguez, like, oh, there it is. I knew this looked familiar.
Yeah, I was like very sort of like, this has a similar feeling to me. I don't know where I've seen this before. And then the credits roll and I see Robert Rodriguez's name. It's like, oh, that's interesting.
And you notice him more than I do because you notice Robert Rodriguez's style.
Well, yeah, he's been around for a while, so you can, if you look at like a lot of his stuff, you can really sort of get a sense of his sort of camera work. Yeah.
And like for one, it's also kind of like tragic because it doesn't end well for anyone.
Yeah, this is sort of a very bad day for Mando in this episode. Things do not go well, and let's just say Moff Gideon is very pleased about the outcome of this. Very pleased about the outcome of
there was a moment I was like, I was expecting this man to get like, I always seen him as kind of like threatening, but it was the moment where he was happy. I'm like, okay, this is kind of comedic now.
Yeah, it's a little weird seeing this guy who's like very supposed to be serious be like actually like, oh, I'm happy.
Like I was just like one step away from getting that curly Q mustache. He was going like,
my plans have succeeded, and the episode sort of ends with Mando.
I'll get you next time, He-Man.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's all right.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
That's a He-Man reference. I understood that reference. So the episode sort of ends with Mando sort of recouping, gaining some new allies, and which I gotta admit, like, it's kind of cool. Who's
Can we just say it? Let's just say it.
Yeah,
he's got Boba on his side.
Yeah, he's got Boba on his side.
I don't mean Boba the drink. I mean Boba Fett.
Yeah, Boba Fett came to be like, I want my armor back.
It is like, was it New Zealand accent?
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, yeah, that's him. And then, like...
we get to see him in the armor again. And
we made this joke earlier about, are they finally going to make Boba Fett a badass? Because every time, everyone says that he's a badass, and unless you haven't read any of the expanded lore or anything like that, or seen any of the shows as Boba as a kid or whatever, you're like, I mean, like you just only seen the movie. This is where he just happened, he just
gets eaten by a Sarlacc pit,
like a bitch.
Yeah,
and then he comes in and he's like, oh.
Yeah, no, he tears up even without the armor, dude.
And when he gets the armor, it's like, oh, what's the point now?
Yeah, it's very sort of like, oh yeah, okay. If this was the Boba I've seen watching the movies, then I would absolutely understand why people love this character.
Yeah, if you only watch the movies, this is a treat for you because everyone's like, Boba's pretty cool. He looks cool.
It's like, I don't know. He kind of got like shafted in the movies. This is like Like this is like I think the premiere like Boba moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. But basically the episode sort of ends with Mando having to recoup and trying to figure out how to stop Moff Gideon from doing whatever he needs to do.
Yeah, and it's basically I think the next episode is gonna be like that scene from Rick and Morty, like you son of a bitch, I'm in.
It's gonna be like a big sort of heist, like sort of thing where like Mando decides to bring a bunch of people from like the last season to be like, I got a job, I'm gonna get this kid. It's like you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Oh man, it's gonna be a good clip.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's episode 14.
This one I'll give a 9.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm right up there with you. You know,
it was so good.
Yeah, like again, like another banger. Granted, it doesn't have as much like I guess story significance as the last episode, but like
it's a good like bridging episode.
Yeah, like it's pretty much a direct follow up from the last episode. It builds upon like the stuff hinted at from last season and earlier in this season, tying it all together. And now we sort of reach we're about to begin sort of the climax of the season.
Where we're seeing the dominoes fall into place.
Yeah, everything's sort of coming together, and now we sort of see we're probably gonna see Mando push to his limits at this point.
Yeah, he's gonna end up doing some stuff that he might not like. He might have to get around with it. This is essentially one of the this is the kind of thing I like about the writing. They keep the cast small enough so that way you know them enough, and it makes sense that why we're going back to this. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I want Mando to also explore more of the space of the Outer Rim, but it makes sense now that he's going back and forth because it's setting up this sort of situation.
Yeah,
and I'm happy for it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I think this is probably on the shorter side because like this recent episode is really, like I said, there's not much to talk about because it's just a lot of action, and it's a good idea that they brought in Robert Rodriguez to do this because he is the action man.
Absolutely.
I mean, have you seen Machete? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, a lot of action in that one.
Oh yeah. So it only makes sense that this is for him. I will say, now that we're coming to the last 2 episodes, what do you think could happen? Do you think Grogu will eventually be another Jedi by the end of the season, and who could it be?
Well, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I don't think. All right, let's just say this out loud. I don't think Luke's gonna show up.
No.
I don't think
Mark Hamill is too damn old.
Well, yeah, Mark Hamill's too damn old. I mean, they could do some weird like young Luke CG stuff that they did.
Some people say Sebastian Stan is young Luke.
Sebastian Stan. Like a Luke a couple years after Return of the Jedi kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, we gotta think about the time frame though.
Yeah, I know. It's been a couple years after the Empire's Fallen.
Years or weeks or months, one of the two.
Yeah, one of the two. If Grogu decides to go with another Jedi, it could just be like just a random Jedi that hasn't been really mentioned that much in the in the lore.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it could be Ahsoka Tano, possibly. I mean, I feel like they could write around that stuff because realistically, no one kind of knows what happened after, Rebels, and I mean, we kind of know what's happening with her now in Mandalorian, but that's set up after the end. It's set in between Return of the Jedi, and it's. I don't know if it's confirmed if she's dead or not by the time of the sequel trilogy starts. So, yeah, it could be interesting. And I think the main reason why I say not Luke is just because it'd be kind of weird, to have like the implication of like Grogu being there, being one of Luke's apprentices, and then Kylo and all the Knights of Ren thing going on. Would they? It's kind of I don't know.
Well, it's weird because like even in the movies when they this is one of the the negatives you eventually have to realize for the Star Wars movies is they've always been focused on this one specific family.
Yeah.
So we kind of don't even know the rest. Like, for all we know, Ahsoka probably was around during the First Order.
Possibly, yeah.
I mean, we just don't know.
Yeah.
Because we're just so focused on Ben Solo, Rey, and all the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Then rather than, focusing on all that. But, personally, I like to see some other ones aside from Ahsoka or Luke. Maybe Ezra's still around. Maybe he could do it.
Yeah, that would be kind of an interesting sort of...
And if you played the Fallen Order game, Cal Keswick.
Right, yeah, we have Cal. Yeah, I forgot about
and
that.
I forget her name, but the chick that was helping him out.
Yeah.
Aesthetics.
Yeah, I remember her too, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that could be kind of a neat tie-in as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the thing, we say Luke is the last Jedi, but in reality, there is no last Jedi because you can be formed with the power, apparently.
Well, yeah, midichlorians, they show up, right?
Yeah, they even mention it here in the show.
Yeah, they do mention it in the show as the MI count or something.
Yeah. MC count or something.
Yeah, something like that. Like, so which is pretty funny to me at least. Like it's we still
know what? They bring in Dylan Merrick.
I don't know where it's the apprentice. I'm here to train a child.
Like, oh shit!
And then that leads to like a Disney Plus show about the apprentice.
Yeah, it's just called The Apprentice.
Yeah, that'd be
no relation to the other Apprentice show.
Yeah, no, not that one.
Not that one.
Well, I mean, I feel like a lot of people know it. It has sometimes it's called the Celebrity Apprentice, so
yeah.
You can distinguish it. Yeah, but that could be an interesting way to go. Mm-hmm. I think there's also the other possibility of Grogu not deciding to go with the Jedi instead, just wants to stick with Mando, which that could be very interesting.
Like I have seen art by this, and I think it's really done like a Yoda-sized Mandalorian.
Yoda-sized Mandalorian. No, that sounds pretty stupid.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just like it would be kind of interesting, I guess, with if that would be the direction the plot goes, where Grogu decides to just stay with Mando, because it definitely seems like Mando is very sort of like, no, I can't take care of you. You got these Force powers, all right? You got to learn to use them right. You got to be with the Jedi, kind of thing.
It's like that scene where the kid's trying to chase away his dog.
Oh yeah, like go away.
They're trying to white fang me.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it's what else do you think could potentially happen?
I mean, this is my speculation. This is my theory that the reason because they're basically going for looking for the midichlorian count, right?
Right.
That's why they're taking the blood. What if this is all just for the clonage for Palpatine?
To relate back to episode 9.
Yeah,
because that's how because Palpatine comes back through cloning and stuff. I do think that might be a possibility. Because it does seem like they were using the blood of like these Force sensitive people for some sort of experiments. I do think that might be like a thing that leads to that. But it's like in secret and stuff.
I mean, like even in like some of the expanded lore, specifically talking about Force Unleashed, they said like you can't clone a Jedi; it's impossible. Can't be done. But and that's part of the question of like whether or not in Force Unleashed 2, the apprentice is he clone or not.
Right.
I think in the novelization of the book of the game, they pretty much say he is a clone. I like the ambiguity better.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I do think either way, I think sort of the finale is going to be somewhat of a culmination of
season 1 and 2.
Yeah, sort of like we get to see a bunch of like I guess characters all like converging, especially Bo-Katan, and who knows, maybe Ahsoka decided to show up to help out. You know, that could be interesting.
I mean, I think the question is, how long do we expect Mandalorian to go on?
Yeah, because I'm not like, have they confirmed the season 3 or no?
They haven't really confirmed anything.
Right. I'm assuming it's definitely because of the current world situation going on. You know, so they probably don't want to risk doing something or like filming and doing stuff like that. So yeah. You know, who knows? Maybe we will just only get 2 seasons, but considering just how much people watch Disney Plus just for Mandalorian, it's entirely possible they could be setting up a third season, and this could end in like a bit of a cliffhanger, but not really, you know.
Yeah, in a bittersweet ending.
Yeah, like a bit. I could see it just this season ending in sort of a bit more open ended to like leave the door for season 3 if there needs to be, but if not, then it's kind of like a decent way to tie things up, you know. So yeah, I think that's sort of. I think for me, that's kind of where this might lead to.
Yeah, no, and we'll have to wait and see whether or not, you know, Disney Plus is going to be solely relying on this show.
Well, I mean,
until the Marvel shows come out, we see what they do.
Yeah, I think most likely. Again, I think that's also why I think the theories around like a solo Ahsoka Tano show could be like really interesting to see. Because again, Rosario Dawson is a pretty big actress. Having her play Ahsoka Tano for just 1 episode or maybe 2
seems kind of a waste.
You feel like you might negotiate to get her to do maybe her own little miniseries. I mean, heck, the Marvel Netflix show, she was Night Nurse
for like 3 shows.
Yeah, she was in literally like a bunch of those shows.
She was in like the first season of every show.
Yeah, basically, she's just sort of running around, just sort of like, what the hell's going on?
Was she in season 2 of Daredevil? No, maybe in the beginning.
Yeah, I think maybe at the beginning, but not.
Yeah,
but not later on. Yeah,
because she was probably in season 1, and she was so and so in season 2. Season 1, I think 1 or 2 episodes for Jessica Jones. She was probably in Luke Cage.
Yeah, she gets a really big role in Luke Cage.
And then Iron Fist. So.
Yeah.
Which is kind of it's one of the saving graces of that show. And she was kind of in Defenders. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember she was in Defenders.
She was in the first episode. I remember that.
Oh, okay.
Remember, because she was the reason why.
Oh yeah, she's the reason why they're able to contact. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, I'm right. I remember. Anyways, I think that's about all we gotta say for Mandalorian. Hopefully, we'll come back with a sort of a cap to the end of the season.
Yeah, considering considering the next 2 episodes are probably gonna be the last 2 episodes of the season. Yeah, the next time we talk about Mando, it's probably gonna be a long one. Definitely, it's probably significantly longer than our past episodes about Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah, and then we'll see. But then I think by the time we get back about the new year, we'll probably be talking about Scarlet Witch, WandaVision.
Yeah, WandaVision. Hopefully,
So hopefully we'll talk about that. Anyways, guys, thanks for checking us out. You can follow us on social media through Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Geek Centurions. If you follow us on Instagram, you will find our link tree that links us to all our podcasting sites like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, all the good stuff that's there. You'll be able to find and listen to us. Also, you can find our links to our YouTube where you can watch, us talk about this. Put a face to the voice and be able to, comment on what you think we can do or possible potential episodes. And when you're on YouTube, be sure you consider your comments, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. You know how it is with YouTube. Be sure to do it. Be sure to give us a follow over there. And we do have a Patreon, which means you can support us in any way possible. And if you want to do that, go for it. We would happily accept those kind of donations. And yeah, I think that's about it. We've been doing pretty good.
Yeah, you know, it's by the time this episode's out, we are in December. It is almost Christmas. I think as of the day of recording this, we are like 21 days till Christmas.
Are we gonna have a Christmas episode? I don't know.
I don't know.
We're usually really busy around Christmas. The last 2 weeks of December.
Yeah, that's sort of yeah. I guess that's we consider that sort of a you know, break for us.
Yeah.
Here, especially because just looking at it, Christmas is on a Friday. So, usually record these. We won't get too specifics, but basically we might be really busy with. So you might not get like a sort of Christmas themed episode from us. So yeah.
I want to do one, but time.
Yeah, time is
She is a fickle one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been good, guys. Hope you guys are staying good. Stay safe and happy holidays.